Microphone check 1 2. Hello and welcome back to Celly season. Right. Okay, I'm gonna talk about Mikel Arteta today. And in regards to today's stream, I kind of do want to have a bit to actually go over. But before I do that, don't forget to subscribe and share this video. It would really help the algorithm. Right. The algorithm. Right. Let's get on with this video. Now, I'm going to talk about Mikel Arteta and why he should stay, because contrary to popular belief, a lot of people are going to hate me for this video. But in all fairness, let's look at the facts of the matter. If Mikel Arteta was to get sacked, who do we have to replace? They're not going to attract the likes of Pochettino because of the fact that he's just not a top manager to play against his rival's old club. Like, for example, he turned down the Espanyol job. He turned down the Barcelona job, allegedly, because he used to manage Espanyol. That for someone to turn down a job of that stature to come to us after he managed Tottenham, it's not going to happen. It's not realistic. Same thing with Max Allegri. I do not see him having managed with Juventus and won things with them, suddenly taking on this project with a stingy board. That has to be apparent and that has to be said. So we have to be realistic. We have no choice but to actually stick with this manager now, because in all fairness, it's not like he's, with every respect to Unai Emery, it's not like he's Unai Emery. Unai Emery was great in his own respects, but in all fairness, he was out of his depth a little bit when it came to the club. I know I spoke in support of him when he was here. However, that was one, because of his unbeaten run that he had, which was 20 games, and two, he's won things. He's had experience winning trophies, especially in Europe. So I thought, especially with him as well, mounting up a Europa League challenge where he took us to the final, I thought that was merited of at least another year or at least 2 windows. Because if we're trying to restructure after we have had our greatest manager leave on our request, I would think give him a bit more time. But no, we didn't. And we now moving to Arteta. We cannot keep sacking managers, and we don't have an owner that will dip in and invest in a club to compensate for all these sackings. Even if we're looking at the examples of high-profile managers and teams who are notorious for spending, such as, for example, Chelsea Football Club. Roman Abramovich will invest in that club for as long as he's there, and his fans can trust he will invest in that club. So whoever is sacked, he knows whoever is bringing, they're going to get financial backing. Same thing with Manchester City. We don't have that here. So we have to be very realistic. We can't call for a sacking and force our club again to sack another manager and bring in someone else that's just gonna face the exact same problems. With all due respect to every Arsenal fan out there, our problems are very unique to our club. It's not the same problems as the Chelsea have that, or the Man City has, that they can fix with money. Same thing as Liverpool. It's very unique to our club. So the way we have to fix it is kind of internally. So for today's video, I'm going to talk about a lot of the fractures and a lot of the problems that have been left over from the Wenger era. I'm also going to be talking about the need for the transfer structure to change. It's very stagnant, and it's, in all fairness, we're still finding the players, but we're not developing anymore. So I'm going to be talking a bit more about that. And in all fairness, I'm going to be talking about Arteta's philosophy, and I'm going to be giving my verdict on what the actual issue is and what actually needs to happen, in all fairness. So we have to remember, when Wenger was here, he had a style of play that was it was enviable, but at the same time, it wasn't wanted. Like, for example, the reason why I say that is because he had the talented players to play in his tactic where pressing wasn't an all-important part of the trade. It was more of the passing and move. It was more of the entertaining football. If Arsenal Football Club had the ball, teams were terrified simply because everyone in that team could pass. Everyone in that team could play around the park. And teams were usually on the defensive when they came to the Emirates or to face us. Not so recently. Like, a lot of the managers that we've brought in have tried to play the pressing game. A lot of the players that have stayed over from the Wenger era and has actually experienced the way that Wenger likes to play football, they are very resistant to this because they didn't have to press before. All they had in their mind was get the ball and keep the ball, and we'll work a chance out of something. Obviously, it worked under Wenger, and that was the The downside was he didn't press as much or as intensively as his other managers. At least that's what I've noticed. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments below on what you've observed during the time of Wenger. But from what I've noticed, this wasn't the case. I'm not going to be talking about the matches in general because I don't think the matches is going to change much. I think this season is done for. This is the hard reset that I was kind of talking about, except that it's happening more realistically because I personally felt we needed to lose every competition that we are in. I personally felt like we needed to achieve our lowest league position for us to actually have a wake-up call and realize that we are actually in a lot of trouble. It was necessary so that the board can wake up and see it and realize that they need to do something to counteract their bad fortune, and that isn't going to be solved by sacking a couple of managers. It's going to be solved by actually spending money. So when I looked at all these factors, it was quite apparent that in the transfer market we have been going backwards. I think you can even epitomize it to, you can even bring it back right down to when Denis Suarez was brought in on loan. Not really our player, and it's not really the style of way that we used to do things. Under the Wenger era, the only player that I remember being brought in on loan, please remind me of others, but it was Kim Karlstrom and Julio Baptista. Julio Baptista went from Real Madrid, and Jose Antonio Reyes came on went to Real Madrid. So that was kind of a like-for-like quality change, and Kim Karlstrom was more there because we had a lot of injury problems. I believe a lot of our defensive midfielders were really, really injured, and we needed to rotate the team to play in the Carabao Cup. So therefore, we signed him on loan. That was the philosophy, because our main philosophy was we get the players that we want off young, and then we develop them and we sell them at a profit, or keep them to become the next legend of the club, like SS Fabregas, for example. We have moved away from that. We are signing now a lot of older players to come into the team. Willian is one, David Luiz is one. This is something that you would never see in the Wenger era, because his transfer policy stops at 30. If you, like, I remember him selling our best players. The minute that we 30, he's going to move them on and get the most value out of them. This was what Wenger used to do, and then I think he slowly started breaking it. I can't really remember who he signed that was above that age. I don't think he even signed it. Let me know in the comment section, because my memory is starting to fade a little bit. But I don't think he's actually signed anyone over the age of 30. But Emery came in and Arteta came in. They all made signings that were over 30. I think Socrates was one. Socrates, and then you have WH under Emery, Willian. These players are not needed. I mean, I can understand why those coaches will be forced to make those kind of signings, because they're trying to bring in a bit of experience. But at the same time, again, it's not needed. It's not needed to make. We need to go back into developing our players once again. I am personally excited by Mikel Arteta. I personally think he has the credentials ready to actually take this club to where they once were, but he needs time. He needs at least 3 years, in my honest opinion. At least complete this season, because what he's trying to implement is not something that Arsenal Football Club has actually experienced. He's trying to implement playing out from the back. This wasn't pretty much a thing until 2016, 2015, when Wenger started doing it more and brought in Ben Leno as a result. I think it was him that brought in Ben Leno, or was it Emery? Again, memory faded me. Let me know in the comment section. He's also placed a lot of emphasis on pressing. This is also something that Emery also done, which led to Ozil being dropped. Now, Ozil fitted in Wenger's system beautifully, because the way that him and Sanchez were linking up was just amazing. And Giroud in that look, it worked. It wasn't really based on pressing. In fact, I think even Alexis Sanchez he was so upset and so angry one time when he was doing all the pressing and the other players weren't. The other players went back and were marking the zones, which was how Wenger used to play. And he was really livid with this. And that is the one player I would think would have fitted into Arteta's style, because that's what he does. He presses. But yeah, He presses. He has the possessive, the possessive, the possession game of the his strategy is position based, I should say, and he is also the type of manager to be positive on the transition. So he wouldn't play around and be patient. He would actually try to always be direct in the counter and move the ball really quickly through the wing mainly, from what I've noticed. But for you to do this, he needs the right personnel. Shaka, from what I've noticed, he's not a presser. He can't tackle. From what I've noticed, that's one player that definitely needs to go. There's also a couple more players, but I just wanted to put it out there that I just don't want Shaka in the team. He fits more into Wenger's team, but not into Arteta's team. If Arteta wants to move forward, he needs to move in on. And that is, and I guess with that kind of verdict, I need to sum up something before actually giving my verdict. With that kind of perspective, I need to sum up that the fact that Mikel Arteta is new. If we want to look at what he's done, he's only 38, and two, this is his first job. I don't know what we were expecting him to get, because I don't know what we were expecting him to achieve, because in all fairness, when he came in my head I was thinking, right, the club is kind of backpedaling. They're trying to retrieve some of the time that they have lost when they appointed Emery. That's what I've noticed. And personally, my verdict is the board is to be blamed for this, because they should have hired Mikel Arteta straight after Wenger. He should have, in fact, he probably should have been, the way that Sir Alex introduced David Moyes should have been the same way in which they should have introduced Mikel Arteta. Because in all fairness, when he first took over, he actually identified the problems and he went around solving it. I think signing of Gabriel showed this. And I don't like the signing of Willian, but I can see why he signed him, because his work rate is actually quite exceptional. I can see the problems in his game, and this is because I'm talking about. His problems is more of with the match day, and that's expected. He's inexperienced. I actually want him to have problems in the match day. What I didn't expect is how good he is on the transfer window. He does know the personnel to bring in. I think the way that he has brought in Gabriel and he's got his foot running was amazing. Partey as well. And yes, you can question the fact that he's chosen to leave out Ozil, but like I said earlier, I don't think that was him. I think that was just the board, and they haven't done enough. And I think the board is to blame for this, and Arteta should not have taken a responsibility for it. The board should take a responsibility for it. If they're going to leave and force Arteta's hand, because let's be real, if you're bringing in an inexperienced manager, you can pretty much tell him to do whatever and he will do it, because he needs the experience and he knows this is a big club in which he can bounce off from. But him choosing not to play Ozil, his biggest mistake was at least not bringing in a youngster. He doesn't have to be the most talented youngster. He doesn't have to be the most talented player, but just bring in a number 10 to compensate for that. He didn't do that. He brought in Thomas Partey, and that it was in a 45 million deal, and that's kind of the point I'm making. Like, they didn't give him the backing he needed to navigate that transfer window and bring in the personnel that he needed for the first half of the season, which is why we're suffering. I can look at it like that, but at the same time, he does have to bear the first share of the blame and criticism, because that being said, there is no way in, like, if sections has been a problem as well. There's no way Willian should be playing week in, week out. Him and Lacazette, when they were off form, and Aubameyang as well. There's no way they should be playing week in, week out. And then we have a young squad that we could develop that are not getting a look in at all. You know what I mean? Nelson has not started, but he plays in every Champions League game and presses every Champions League. I think he's got a goal and an assist. Joe Willock is on fire in the Champions League, and they're not getting a look in much. And I don't even think he knows how to use them, because they're not the players that he's thinking of. I have actually created a system here that I am also bringing in. Apologies for this. Let me quickly just set it up. Yeah, I am bringing a system that I'm actually hoping to implement. That's me on the top right. I'm hoping to I'm actually looking to do this system on the streams that I'm doing, where I would analyze your team and give you kind of a report on who the best players are, etc. But these are this is just an overview of that system. Now, just an overview of that system. Now, as you can see here, as you can see here, this is what we have for the number 10s, right? This is the number 10 attacking midfielder report. The best player for this role, from what I've noticed here, the best players that can play in number 10 is actually, well, I'm not going to say Partey because obviously we know he's an enforcer, but Nicolas Pepe, Bukayo Saka, and Rose Nelson were, and Willian himself, not Willian too much because he's quite low, but they were a very good shout. Obviously, we know why we can't pick Ceballos, Partey, Xhaka, and Elneny as a number 10 or even a Maitland-Niles, but you get what I'm saying. These four could have been candidates because I refuse to believe that it was just literally just one player that literally hampered our chances to not having a good season this year. I just refuse to believe that because in all fairness, Ozil being out shouldn't have really hampered us this much this season. We still got 3 points from Fulham. We still gained 3 points from Man United. So it shouldn't have really hampered us this much, but it has. So I'm pretty sure he has something like this, like his data analyst teams are making it clear to him. But as you can see there, I'm also looking at doing a video for transfer targets as well. So that is in the pipe works. That's in the works. But I thought I'd let you guys know that because that's something that I do for my Twitch streamers. They can request a video and then I'll do an analysis video for them. And pretty much that's what I'm gonna be doing to increase the channel. But that hopefully shows what I'm trying to say in regards to Mikel Arteta, because I think his record in the transfer window is very good. It's his match day experience that he has to improve. He has made a lot of questions, but I expected that. I actually honestly expected that. What I didn't expect was it being this bad, because I didn't expect that at number 10 he would have gone into hiding to try and show that he doesn't need to have a number 10 in his team. I thought that was, in my honest opinion, something that was quite surprising, because I didn't think he would be this much of an implosion. He's got all maximum points. Yes, it's an easy league. Dundalk, Rapid Vienna, and Molde. It's a very easy Europa League. Anyone should be going past it. But if we are struggling with easy teams in the league as well, we should be struggling in the Europa League, but we are not. We are doing quite well in the Europa League, and it's a second string playing. So why not swap the whole team around? You know, and looking into Arsenal's next 5 fixtures, we have Everton, Man City, Everton away. That's a game that I think we might lose because they are 5th in the Prem. They are on form. We have Man City in the Carabao Cup. I really don't care about that, in all fairness. I think he should just bring out his under-18s and just let them lose that game. We have Chelsea at home. I don't think we're going to win that either. They are 6th in the Prem. And then we have Brighton, which I think we should get at least a point. I'm trying to be realistic here because we have no reason to be entitled now. Arsenal fans have no reason to even think they can even mention a trophy in this next 2 years. I don't think we can even mention finishing above Spurs or even mention, I don't know. We are fucked. We have to get a good window, and that is what I'm looking towards Mikel Arteta. I'm going to give him to this season. I think he can turn things around. I'm going to give him till next season. Sorry, not this season. Next season. That's my verdict on it. I don't think it's wise to sack him because we have no options. I don't think it's wise to sack him now. I think we should wait until his third season. If he doesn't change anything, then he should go. The same way that Man United gave Alex Ferguson 3 chances. I know this is Alex Ferguson we're talking about, but he didn't start off his Man United career in the best of way since he came from Aberdeen. I do know that for a fact, and Jurgen Klopp didn't have the best of starts either. You know, he had to wait and he was always in the third season that they came in good. So I'm giving Mikel Arteta 2 seasons extra, 3 seasons basically. He's delivered an FA Cup in his first season. I think he can go on to do more, but he needs the personnel. You guys can scream Arteta out, but you guys are the same guys that fucked up their whole club and got rid of our best manager. Okay, now look at that. Now look at us. Now is the time to actually regroup and stable the ship. This is the manager to do it. Emery wasn't the manager to do it. He wasn't stable himself. He is the right one. And I personally hope that a lot of people can see that. I just wanted to make this video. It's not much stats filled. It's just literally just my own feelings on the situation. I'll see you in the next video. I'm working on the transfer targets that Arsenal should realistically be aiming at, and the positions that does need fleshing out. So I hope to see you on that video, and take care. Have a good evening. Stay blessed.